Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Friendship Supreme. I'm Michael.
This is Cleve.
And we're the podcast that dares to ask, seen any good movies lately?
A couple.
Yeah.
Not tons, but some.
The last movie I got to see was The Secret Life of Pets 2. And it's because it's our first movie we took our toddler to. And so...
How'd it go?
We went at like 10 in the morning, and there was all of 2 other families in there, and it went okay.
That's helpful.
Yeah. That's why we also picked that. Like, Toy Story had just come out, and we're like, we really want to see Toy Story, but...
Let's test it out on The Secret Life of Pets.
Exactly.
So,
Secret Life of Pets ended up, unfortunately, introduced my daughter to movie popcorn. Cleve is not a big popcorn fan. I don't know if it's just movie popcorn or all popcorn.
Movie popcorn for the most. I don't need a tub of it.
I need a tub of it. And unfortunately, my daughter was introduced to it and loves it as well. So in order to stray her away from the path that I've gone down my life, hopefully we will limit her on the amount of popcorn.
I mean, can you just not douse it in butter and give it to her?
Is it movie popcorn then?
I mean, it's popcorn.
It's not movie popcorn. Anyway, we bring you a special episode from the think tank that is Cleve. He comes up with a lot of our ideas.
It's me. I just have a lot of free time. I don't do a lot on the podcast, so a lot of my job is coming up with ideas and being present. And
your presence is our presence.
And finding problems that we have that we can do better. Because I point out a lot of those. Sometimes I worry that I sound too negative, but I do what I can.
All the time. It's Mr. Negative Guy.
Someone's trying to run a business here.
Anyways, tell them about your idea, Cleve.
So the idea is everyone has that person or that movie that they wish other people had seen so that they could talk about it and share it, but they don't. And we've all had someone who's like, hey, you should watch this show, and you're like, yeah, okay, and then you never watch it. So...
Cleve suggests so many shows to me.
Or like The Boys. I just haven't gotten to it. I just don't have the time.
It's absurd. If you're not watching The Boys, you're not living life.
Anyway. So, the idea is that we will pick movies for all of the 3 to watch and have the person review it. See how it goes.
Yep.
So, I'm picking movies for Stephanie. Stephanie is... Stephanie, say hi.
Hello. Hi. That was weird.
Pick the good one. Stephanie, say hi.
Hey.
There we go. Stephanie is picking movies for Michael, and Michael is picking movies for me.
Hey, mine are funny ones. They're a weird humor.
Who would like to go first?
Yeah, I mean, so the other rule is that, so we have the list, and we're going to go down it, basically, until we found one that the other person hasn't.
Yeah, you only have to pick one movie, but we picked several just in case, you've seen that one, and then you move down to the next one.
And then if you guys really like this, it may become just a thing.
Yeah, and we're going to review them each individually, like a little interview process type thing.
Yeah.
So, also, another rule was that you had to have seen the movie to suggest it to someone else. The idea wasn't to pick terrible movies.
Which I thought was the original idea.
He always takes any idea.
Titanic 2 was happening. Titanic 2 absolutely was happening.
Explain this to me, and that's not how you explained it.
Titanic 2 was going to happen.
Alright.
Because if they had a first one, obviously they have a second one.
Is there a Titanic 2?
Yeah, and it's one of the worst rated movies in IMDb, and happens to go along the same course, except for like 200 miles south of where the Titanic went, and it still doesn't go well.
I wouldn't name my boat after that boat.
Did you know that they had 2 other boats? I had learned this the other day from Katie. So Katie told me that there was a sister boat, which was the Britannica. Britannica? Britannic. And it blew up.
The encyclopedia?
Or like it sunk into terrible. And then there was another boat, and I do not remember this one's name, and that one was used in World War II, and then was destroyed by U-boats.
Where are those movies?
that one's not its fault.
Agreed. It was used in the war, and then it got destroyed, but it had lots of people on it.
Where are those movies?
Great.
We need those.
Maybe U571? The Widowmaker? That was a movie, right?
All right.
It's
U571 is, but it didn't have anything to do
it's
with
the Britannic and the Olympic.
Thank you. The Olympic was the other one.
What's with the ick? So, I assume that was planned.
It's like ice without the E, and then
You're making that up.
I'm
not buying that one.
I'll go first. I'll go first with my movies.
Okay.
And I can't remember if Clue's seen this one or not. So
Hit me with number one.
It's my favorite movie of all time. It is called Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai, and it's about Forrest Whitaker, basically reading a book about the way of the samurai and how he lives his life.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
Done.
have fun.
Signed up. See, that was quick.
And
Simple,
it's
easy.
fantastic. It's my favorite movie.
I
of all
want to know
time.
what the rest of the list is, though.
I read the book.
We can go through the rest of the list.
yeah, okay.
But so that's your number out of all of
It's my
them.
number
That's your
one.
number. Yeah.
Yeah, I
good.
wrote it in the list of which one's number one. The number 6, because I wrote a 6th one. My number 2 is Dr. Horrible's sing-along vlog. You missed out on that one, man.
You know what, man? I'll write it down.
That's NPH and
What is it?
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah,
Dr.
Neil Patrick
Horrible's
Harris.
sing-along vlog.
That sounds like a really messed up.
You can YouTube it.
Okay.
It's like 3 episodes, but they're like mini. It was during the.
That sounds like a show, not a movie.
It was during the writer's strike. Well, I have the movie if you'd like to. Like, it has all 3 of them together.
I'll
It's
take it
Act
on.
1, Act 2, Act 3.
That's extra credit.
It's during the writer's strike, and they all got
You
together.
won't be
Joss
sorry.
Whedon. Joss Whedon's a part of it, so. Well, I mean, he's doing the Avengers now. He's doing big things now, man.
Caught him pre-Avengers.
Post Buffy, pre Avengers. Okay, so anyway, number 3 is Gross Point Blank. It's a John Cusack movie. Number 4 is Kubo and the Two Strings. Don't know if you ever ended up seeing
Saw
that or
that
not.
one.
Fantastic movie.
Yep.
Number 5 is Tank Girl.
Saw it.
And for extra credit, you could have done Moulin Rouge or Repo the Genetic Opera. Either one I would have let you pick.
Moulin Rouge would have been like stapling my foot.
That's why I gave you Repo the Genetic Opera. I'm going to tell you now, it's a cult classic. It either you like it or you hate it. I loved it. Yep, those are my list.
That was a good list, man. Only 2 that I've caught my eye before, so I know you were worried about picking mine and what it would end up being.
I was.
But no, you did good. All right, Stephanie, you ready for yours?
Sure.
I assume I'm gonna hit you with number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
This is the animated version.
I haven't seen that one.
Yep.
Done.
It's number 1.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. What is the rest of them?
It was good enough for me to name my child after the main character. So,
After I saw the pop, I was like, I should watch this.
anytime that I've had the opportunity to push that movie on people, I do. Ma'am, ma'am in the audience.
Wasn't it supposed to be movies that not many people have seen?
No, just
movies that we
you-
love that we want to share with someone else.
Oh, I thought the point was it's movies that
didn't have to be
maybe
obscure.
people haven't really heard of or obscure. That's why I was like Phantom Tollbooth and Brigadoon, because nobody has seen those.
Okay. Well, the
all
rest
right.
of my list was
Back to it, sorry.
John Q.
Stephanie just kicked the camera.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
The rest of my list was John Q, which
Okay,
we
saw
talked
that,
about
yeah.
that you've seen. Muppets with Jason Segel. Okay.
Obviously, I've seen that.
Kung Fu Hustle was the one, but it's more. I enjoy it because it's a comedy.
I actually think I've already seen that one.
I don't believe her.
You would know.
She's
She's
seen Kung Pao, but not Kung Fu Hustle. I know it. I
I
can
don't know
feel
what
it.
Kung Pao is.
So
Do you have groundhogs
white guy
as
with the
a-
parody.
They have a groundhogs and nunchucks.
Look up.
And then at one point in time, the guy goes, "That's a lot of nuts." That's all I remember from that movie.
I'll look up Kung Fu Hustle.
Coco.
I've seen that one. It's really good. I like
Yeah,
that one.
fantastic. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I've seen like parts of it. I feel like I've seen the whole movie, but at
Just
different
in-
randomly parts at different
sections.
places. Yeah.
The Pick of Destiny. And,
Is that the Tenacious D movie?
Yeah,
I've seen
and
it.
Popstar.
I don't know that one.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of those
I
movies.
can loan you that one if you need to. If you want some extra credit. Yeah,
Did you ever end up seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
and I have
Even though you went to that one,
Spider Verse on Blu-ray, so no effort for you whatsoever.
It's also
I
on
have
Netflix.
nothing to play.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, and I have nothing to play Blu-ray.
What year are you in?
You can go buy an Xbox One.
What do you?
Nailed it.
I don't have the money to do that. Also, it's on Netflix.
Are you?
You know what? You know what your Netflix account can go on to an Xbox One, and it plays in 4K.
And also goes on my
Are you
Amazon
poor or a
Fire
time
Stick.
traveler?
I'm poor or what?
Are you poor or a time traveler? There's a reason you can't play Blu-rays. I'm just curious what it is.
Not everyone has a chance to play Blu-rays or has a thing to play Blu-rays with.
Everybody does. I think it's like
Yeah,
$20.
because everyone has an Xbox One.
We literally have a Blu-ray player we're not using.
We're at this point. We're just donating Blu-ray players.
They have extra Blu-rays.
Guess how many VHS players I have though?
All right, guys. So my movie to review is this beautiful piece of work, 2016's New Zealand Pride Hunt for the Wilder People. Wilder People. Sorry, Wilder People. Much like Wildebeest, which is the reference. Yeah.
I've already learned something.
So Stephanie suggested that I go watch this movie. It is by Waika Tatiti. I can only hope that was Waika's right. I don't know the Tatiti. Anyway, he played Korg, which is why we have Korg out here. He was the voice of Korg in Ragnarok because they needed a voice. So like, I want this character, and he was like, I'll do it, and then just did his voice, and it's just him talking really.
Mm-hmm. One of the best characters in the whole.
Oh, absolutely, one of the best characters. So we have Stephanie here with us. Stephanie, say hi. Hey. Stephanie's never on camera with us, so this is Stephanie.
It was Stephanie's movie chosen, so
yep.
Or the movie that Stephanie chose. So here she is.
Yep. So she gets to see how I felt about the movie, and you get to see how she reacts to that. So
I'll be really disappointed if you don't like it.
Overall, how do I say this? So when I go into a movie, I go into it to feel happy. I don't watch a lot of like sad or depressing movies because there's enough sad and depressing things going on in life in general. I super didn't care for this movie. Like, I'm glad that I watched it one time.
It's so good though.
That's why she had to be on camera.
I'm glad I watched it one time so that I can have it here and know that it happened. But there was maybe 5 times where I got to have a good chuckle, and it was mainly just like, oh, that was kind of funny that he said that because he's from New Zealand.
Like his accent, or just he was from New Zealand, so it's weird.
Like
that
it's just just certain thing.
thing.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. It's like when they say brekkie, like or Macca's, like McDonald's is Macca's there. Well, that's in Australia, but
close enough.
Anyway, or when he goes, oh, this reminded me of a scene in the Lord of the... Or he goes, this is like Lord of the Rings. And it was literally a scene of Lord of the Rings, kind of shot for shot. And they're in New Zealand where they filmed Lord of the Rings. That was funny. So I give my brief understanding of this movie, and then I'll let Stephanie correct me. If you've never seen it before, this might be a bit of a spoiler.
This is 2016. Here's the best part, though. I've not seen the movie, so just tell me about the movie.
Yeah. So basically, we have a kid that is a delinquent. He is the kid that plays the villain in Deadpool 2, little chubby New Zealand kid, and he plays this very emo-esque, like doesn't like the world because the world doesn't like him type of character.
Right.
He is in the foster care system, and he keeps running away and starting fires and being a delinquent. And so they say, if this family doesn't work out for you, then we're going to put you in juvenile jail, or a prison. And so he then is with this lady who is absolutely crazy.
She's wonderful.
Julian Dennison is his name.
Thank you. Julian Dennison. Is the little kid. But so the thing is that this lady's crazy, but no, she is probably my favorite character in the whole film. And actually, no, I lied. The best character in the whole entire film is the stupid lady, the child protective lady, because she keeps saying "no child is left behind." That's our saying. Well, not our saying, but like my saying. And so then every sentence, like every time she's talking to anybody, she's like, "Yeah, so we're gonna find this kid. No child left behind." And we'll keep going. And I'm like, yeah, no child left behind. You get it. I'm on board. So he's staying with this woman, and the guy that she's married to, Hector, the lady has her call him her aunt and him uncle, and he hates being called uncle because he's emotionally dead inside. He's supposed to be like some kind of hermit crab mountain man. I don't know.
Sam Neill.
Yeah. Yep. He's played by The guy that plays Dr. Grant in
Sam Neill?
Jurassic Park. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like,
I didn't name the character for you. No, the actor's name is Sam Neill.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was like,
Just doing Stephanie's job, man.
Way better, too.
And that was caught on camera, too.
do you see how long it took him to set up the camera?
So
That was already set up for him.
But it wasn't angled
the
right.
camera was already set up. Cleve did spend a lot of time back there.
But it wasn't angled right.
It was not angled correctly. There was a lot of... You wouldn't have seen Korg right now, and that would have been unacceptable. So
I set it up.
Movie review.
So this is where the spoiler kind of comes in. The woman dies, and like she's just laying in the middle of a field. Like the kid grows on them. You see like there's a bit of time that elapses, and the kid grows on them, and they're all having a good time. He's run away a couple times, but finally like he's like, oh, maybe this is home, and it's supposed to be like this feel good part, and then she's dead. Yeah.
How far into the movie does she die?
20 minutes, 30 minutes in.
Not a spoiler.
Okay.
I feel like any
Yeah.
early death character is just plot point and not spoiler.
Okay.
If she
Yeah.
died at the end, that would have been really sad and a spoiler.
No.
But
Like 20 or 30 minutes in. And so she dies, and the Hector guy was like, yeah, okay, I'm done. Like, I don't want you. I never wanted you. I don't want to be a part of this. They'll be here on Friday. Right after the funeral, says this. And
not easy being on camera, is it?
right after the funeral says, I'm done. I don't want you. This letter says they're coming to get you. They'll be here next week. And so the kid's like freaking out, like, no, I don't want to go. Like, if they take me, I just don't want to do it. And like, he doesn't explain to the dad, to Hector, why he doesn't want to go back. Hector assumes he'll just go back to a new home, but he's going to go to prison. So the kid runs away and goes into a place called the Bush, which apparently is a thing in New Zealand that is apparently the wilderness, and lots of people die by getting lost out there. Because it's
like a forest,
Yeah,
but
you can't really track yourself out there. Kid runs out with a gun and the ashes of the lady. I keep wanting to say mom and dad,
Aunt.
but yeah, the aunt. Because he's going, based on some story she told, he's going to go release her ashes in an area that she dreamed about because they talked about it when she was a kid. Later, you find out, by the way, that she didn't know who her parents were, and that was a lie because she's delusional. So, again, more depression. Like, it's just depressing.
I was gonna say I'm super bummed out so far.
Like, yeah, there's no, like, there are funny parts. Like I said, like in the trailer, you talked about there was a scene where the kid and the Child Protective Service lady meet each other while they're running in the wild. Like, while he's running away, she comes across him. He's like, and she's like, well, I'm like the Terminator, and the kid's like, no, I'm the Terminator, and then they argue back and forth. Like, there's funny parts in it, but the movie's general tone is just like, hey, life sucks. So they run away, or he runs away. Guy comes out to come save him, Hector, and ends up like breaking or fracturing his ankle in trying to catch the kid from running, and so then he has to nurse him for a while, and they're out in the wilderness for like 3 or 4 weeks. Or 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Then they start going back and come across this group of hunters that they find out they're wanted because they think that he kidnapped the kid. And then the kid says some untimely things that make it kind of sound like he might be being molested. Stuff like, oh yeah, I had to do things out there that I didn't really want to do, but he made me do them. And it's like at one point in time, he never really wanted to help me play. So I always had to play by myself, and just said things that
Take out of context,
right? And so then it becomes this aggressive, like, we're going to try to take you, and then the kid pulls the gun out on them, or the rifle on them, and then they leave, and this whole story is about them just running away, and like they come into different characters. They run across like 2 people that live out in the wilderness ish, and they're like nice people, but then there's no like good part, like there's no happiness to it to me. Like they just keep running and shit just keeps happening, and then finally the very end they're in this long car chase, where at one point in time they have a military vehicle. Somehow the child protective agent got a military vehicle and is like blowing down the like desert trying to catch them as they're
No
driving
Child
away in a
No
Toyota.
Child Left Behind.
You know, at one point, I'm pretty sure she said "No Child Left Behind." Like that was the one thing I took away. That I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny." She kept saying "No Child Left Behind." Yeah, and then they're driving away, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna get out of here," and then they don't. Like they don't escape. Like he turns around, tries to drive the other way, and they all drive past him, and he keeps going this way, and then eventually they crash, and the Hector's finally like, "I'm done. Like I'm done. I want to be done. I don't want to run anymore." He goes, "I'm gonna surrender." Starts putting his hands up. I surrender. The kid shoots the gun and rifle in the air. He goes, "I swear it wasn't me. It wasn't me." Hector, thinking these guys are gonna shoot me now because it's just full SWAT geared individuals now trying to kill him. And then as he's walking out, the little kid's just going, "Oh yeah, he's a molester. He's a molester." And I'm like, why? And so then they get arrested. He goes to prison, spends, I think, like 2 years in prison. The kid gets to go live with one of the nice families that he randomly ran into while running away. Goes and lives with them, and then talks to the guy in a halfway home. He's like, "You really should come stay with us." And then he does. And he goes and stays with them.
And it's happily ever after.
He still lost his wife. He still lost his wife. He was still in jail. He had to go through all of that because this little shit called him a molester. like it was just...
He was upset.
There was no... Yeah. Yeah. Put a man in prison for 2 years because you were upset.
So is it like I can't believe he's giving up on me, so I'm gonna make him seem like a
Yeah.
molester?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was like he kept calling him a traitor. He kept saying, "Why are you being a traitor? Don't be a traitor." And then he kept walking out. And he's like, "Oh, okay, fine." He turns around and goes, "He was a molesterer. He was a molesterer."
Stephanie?
That's a very dark spin on a very random, ridiculous, funny movie.
There was no part of that movie that was funny. Like, I watched it knowing, because I remember, Stephanie's like, "Oh yeah, I walk in on Derek all the time watching it, and he's laughing." I would genuinely question his sanity if he was laughing at certain moments. Like I said, there are a couple one-line zingers that are like, "Haha, that was funny."
What about his whole song? He makes his own song. Ricky Dillon.
Well, the girl, the
mom
aunt makes a song of Happy Birthday. Do you know why, by the way? So they originally filmed it. I read a bunch of like random tidbits about this movie. They originally filmed it, and they sang Happy Birthday. 10 takes they did with them singing Happy Birthday. Waika found out later that he didn't have the rights to sing the Happy Birthday song, so they had to go back and redo that scene of them making up a rap about him, basically.
That made it even better.
I hate that birthday thing. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, no, that's why that was... And then, apparently, also, other weird tidbits. Waika, the scene... Because Waika makes an appearance as doing the eulogy for the death of the aunt. And his weird ramble of it was so awkward and confusing, and it made no sense.
About that scene.
And the whole reason he did it was because apparently he was at a funeral for a friend of his, and that happened. Like, it was just this guy talking about the weirdest stuff. He's like, "So I'm just going to do that." And then also, when they were doing the car chase, it was supposed to be making fun of a New Zealand Toyota commercial. Those are the weird tidbits I had to take away from that.
So... watch it?
You know what? Like I said, I'm glad I watched it. I forced Katie to watch it. She hates you for this, by the way.
Why? She doesn't like it either?
Katie doesn't do well with sad movies.
But I feel like
there was no part of this movie that was a comedy.
There were sad parts in it because the aunt died because she was super nice. But then this crotchety old
was
man...
still crotchety all the way through the end. There was never a point in time
his
where
heart got a little warm.
No. There was never a point in time where it was suddenly like, "Oh, this is a good guy now. He's a hero in the film." It was like he's always
That's
a
not real
jackass.
life.
Right. But again, I don't go to watch a movie to watch real life happen. Never. Never do I go... If I wanted that, documentary. That's what I'd watch.
I think...
You know what? When
Dave
I watch
needs
this
to
film,
watch it so that he can...
That's fine. You know what? Maybe we should do a sequel to this episode where we all then go watching it rotate.
Yeah.
My whole thing...
I have to review the same movie? I gotta get a new one?
My whole thing about this, the entire time I watched it, was this is the type of movie that wins indie film awards and wins, like, the Academy Award. Like, this is that...
Pandering a little bit?
Like, that weird, make you feel guilty, make you feel shitty about your life, like, somehow wins an award movie. That's what I got out of the whole thing. You know what it was? The whole time, it's the type of movie that white people like. Like, I know I'm white, and I get it. But this is like that stereotypical white people watch this shit.
There's a lot of cursing in your review.
Yeah.
I don't think you have any idea how angry I was when I watched that movie. I walked away, and not to be able to talk to you about it immediately when we played video games the other night. I wanted to stab things. Like, I only watch happy movies or action. Like that, I don't watch, like, I watched Silver Lining Playbook one time. It's won many awards, by the way. One of the worst movies I've ever watched in my life. I hated it.
That's a big reason why I don't watch scary movies. Because I'm like, why do I want
to be scared?
Why do I want to be like in a panic state of sped up heartbeat for 2 hours?
And the only reason I enjoy scary movies is because I laugh the whole time. Because I sit there and think about, like, how ridiculous of a situation is this? I'll be watching things, I'm like, oh, Chucky starts chasing after someone. Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Why would you run like that? Obviously, you get in the car and drive off, and I'm laughing. Like, there's only... And no, I'm the same way. Like, why would I want to watch... It's like, I don't do roller...
So, Stephanie, out of 10 stars, what do you rate the movie?
I think it's like 8 out of 10 stars.
Because
I really enjoy
it. Was
it.
your number one movie that
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Michael, out of 10 stars?
Like 6.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I would absolutely 100% recommend every single person watch it. I think it was good enough to watch. I will never watch it again. And I felt coming away from it, I felt things that I don't like to feel when I'm walking away from a movie. So that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just means that it's not something I ever like to go into. Like, I'm not a...
So Best Buy on Blu-ray for $15. You getting it?
I won't. I don't like physical media anymore.
Yes or no? Okay, it's on. You can download it.
It's on Netflix. Yes, I'll watch it.
Again?
For free. No, not again. I told you. I am 100%. I will advocate 100%. If you could watch it for $5, I'd go watch it.
Wait, because you have 2 copies of the movie that you made me watch.
I've actually... Well, one of the copies was stolen. That's why I bought 2. That's why I had 2.
But you don't like physical media anymore.
Yeah, that movie deserves to be bought, and it was $50 if you wanted to buy it.
That was the point that I was making. Was you own Blu-rays and DVDs?
I haven't bought a Blu-ray in forever, but anyway, yes. No, I understand what you're saying. No, I would say it's the price. It would be worth the price of a movie ticket.
Okay.
One time.
I've watched it multiple times.
$8, $5.
It's on Hulu, by the way, not Netflix. I couldn't find it on Netflix,
No.
and it was on Hulu. So if you have Hulu at home, give it a look. Let me know what you thought. Write down below. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just,
What
like I
is
said,
the
that's
you
not the
liked?
type of movies that I like. So at one point in time, there's a giant boar, which apparently is a problem. It's a problem here in Texas, but they're not nearly as big as this boar was. This boar was CGI created.
He's on the movie poster.
Oh, okay, yeah, like the most massive boar I've ever seen in my life is bored. His dog, which I had to watch his dog die. That doesn't go well either.
I forgot.
His dog died, and I don't take that well, guys.
I feel like you.
Animals
When's the last
death.
time you've seen this movie, Stephanie? I feel like you pushed down a lot of the sadness and kept a lot of the joy.
I mean, it was probably a few months ago, but like, it would take a lot of sadness in a movie to make me sad.
It was basically like watching Schindler's List.
It's not. I'm okay with emotion.
I'm not. So anyway, you watch the boar destroy the dog, just ram the crap out of it and kill it. Well, he has to actually kill his own dog. I'm sorry. The boar bangs him up, and then after the boar dies, which I'll explain in a second, the Hector has to take a rifle and shoot his dog.
Hector is Sam Neill.
Yeah, that's literally the one scene that almost every man in the entire world talks about in the Old Yeller that made them cry. Not this guy, but still, it happened. Nobody wants to watch their dog die.
Was
You
it worse
cry?
than the I Am Legend dog kill?
Oh man, I think so. Because like he had to take the gun from the kid, and the kid's like, "No, why? Why are you gonna do this?" And then like took it, and then made the kid walk away. He's like, "Turn away and go." And then you watch him walking away, and you just see in the background him shooting the dog.
Maybe it's because Hector has no emotion. And
He doesn't. He's like me. He has like
those were like the few moments where
that's
like
why-
he may have had emotion, and I was like, oh, see, look, he's warming his heart.
No, that's not Anyway, so no, the one gangster moment that I super loved was like, so the boar hits the dog, goes running off, and the kid's dog goes running off with him, and then he turns around and starts charging towards Sam Neill, who's on the ground hurt, and so the kid jumps off like this area, like probably like 10 feet up, it looked like, jumped down and just sits there with the gun and points the gun at the boar, and as it's chasing him, he shoots him in the head and it drops dead. But like, that's the first gangster moment ever. Like you said, I don't care about my life, I'm gonna make this happen, and jumped in front of the and at that point I expected Hector to look at him and go, now that's gangster shit, because I said that. I looked at him, because the whole time he's like, yeah, that's real gangster shit, and I looked at the kid, I was like, man, Way to go. That was my favorite scene, I think.
So Rotten Tomato gives this movie a 96% on the tomato meter.
Because it's good.
Easy. And the audience score is a 91%.
I would say 70. Like a high 60s, low 70s. Like I said, I'm not going to knock it. Like, I think it was a good film. I just don't think it was...
It had a budget of $2.5 million, and the box office was $23.2 million US, over both numbers.
What about the scene where he's in the bush and he makes his own like walkie-talkie? I'm not walkie-talkie, Walkman. And he's dancing around with it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The other funny part, Psycho Sam, when he was walking, he was like, "Who's that guy walking around?" He's like, "I don't know. Am I a bush or am I a man?" And he was like dressed as a bush and would like go like this. He goes, "Bush man," like randomly.
That guy's funny, and his accent helped him be funny.
But like I said, there was probably 5 or 6 parts that I found myself laughing at, and then the rest of the film, I genuinely was like, "This sucks. I'm sad."
No Child Left Behind.
No child left behind.
You got one thing to take from it.
Yeah, that's it. So yes, thank you for your recommendation, Stephanie.
I'm sorry, I made you sad.
Please,
I'll have to rewatch movies to see if there's any sadness in them, because I just laughed so hard at the movie, I forgot about the sad parts.
You laughed at the fat kid, huh?
That's right. Stephanie was picking on the fat kid too.
That's right. And I was like, oh, look, he's so pudgy. It's so funny because he's pudgy.
It's funny because he's fat. It's a hangover.
All right.
Final thoughts? Anybody?
I want Cleve to watch it.
It wasn't the game.
I thought about doing extra credit and watching it, but I didn't realize it was on Hulu. I didn't know how you were getting a hold of it. I will say the director, as I'm researching this as you guys are talking, was in Green Lantern. And now...
He was in Green Lantern?
Yeah, like he was an actor in it.
Well, that's not his fault that movie sucks so bad.
I guess, yeah.
He wasn't directing it.
It is a blemish. on that
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, you could be the gaffer, and at this point, you don't ever admit that you were in that movie.
Director, on point. Actor, no, you have that movie on there.
Final thought. Like I said, no, 100%. Go watch it. It's not.
Are you saying that because Stephanie's here?
Are you saying? Yeah, you're saying that because you don't hurt my feelings.
No, I don't think that. I think it was filmed well. I think like cinematography wise, I think it was done well. It's very much an indie film kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it is.
It is an interesting story, but again, I don't like depressing stories. I try to escape life when I watch movies, so that seems like that's kind of where I take from it. That I would not like it because it was depressing, but maybe you like depressing movies. There are people out there that watch The Notebook and Fault in Our Stars and other depressing...
I wouldn't say it was the same depressing on that level, because there's no funny parts in Notebook.
You don't know.
I've watched The Notebook.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
I've read Fault in Our Stars, and there's no funny bits in there either.
I think both are done by Nicholas Sparks, right?
No, Fault in Our Stars is John Green.
Yeah, Nicholas Sparks went to the high school my brother went to. He's the one that pays for their football field all the time.
Maybe when you thought the director did Scream.
Oh, I do have to... Yeah, can I make that correction real quick? So, and it wasn't... So, anyway, Waika is the actual director. For some reason, at some point in time, I got on a rant in the intro about Wes Craven. And I actually meant Wes Anderson. Wes Craven did Scream and some other films that Cleve has brought up recently. Because after we filmed that intro, Cleve sent me a message, goes, who the hell were you talking about? Because he started bringing up random movies, and I'm like, those aren't the same movies.
So Wes Craven does a bunch of like horror
Nightmare
movies?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
You thought it was
Wes
Anderson because he did the Royal
well, because this one started talking about Fantastic Mr. Fox and stuff.
Yeah,
that's where I got into it, because that's the type of movie I thought this was going to be. It was similar. I would tell you it's a very similar like.
I would say Wes Anderson. If you like Wes Anderson movies, you would like this one.
I hate Wes Anderson.
I don't think it's his...
Wes Craven, I actually like. After Cleve started to say... Cleve was sending me this thing, he's like, you didn't like this movie or this movie? I'm like, no, I like these movies.
I was like, how did this guy make this movie and Scream? You've got a wide range, sir. But when you look at Wes Craven, all gore films.
Yes. Wes Craven is very...
so my bad on
horror.
that part. But anyway...
Wes Anderson is very indie.
And you're talking all that trash and he passed away.
So we're gonna let Stephanie now review. Yeah.
Okay, so my movie that Cleve recommended to me was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Hated this movie. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know you are. Nobody hates this movie.
Say, I guess this friendship is over now.
Yeah. We need a new tech person.
Please apply down below in the comments. Send us your resume at friendship.supreme@gmail.com.
No, this movie was fantastic. It was good. The only reason I didn't watch it before you had recommended it is because I saw that Spider Pig thing and I thought it was like a parody joke Spider-Man movie. It's the only thing I think I'd seen about it was that stupid Spider Pig, and that's my least favorite part of this entire movie.
His name is Spider-Ham. Please get it correctly.
Fine, Spider-Ham. I don't like Spider-Ham.
It's interesting because Michael also did not enjoy Spider-Ham. I enjoyed Spider-Ham. I enjoyed John. Anybody?
Mulaney.
Mulaney?
I love John Mulaney.
It would have been better if it was John Hamm.
But I like John Mulaney, and I was like, oh, I'm sad that he's the voice of this character.
I watched an interview where apparently they brought him in, let him know what he was doing. He was real excited, and they were like, just let loose, just read lines however you want to read them, add what you want to. And he didn't know what he was doing, so he was just cussing. Every line was F words and shit and all just back and forth. And then they told him, and he was like, well, you can't use any of that. And they go, yeah, but we just wanted you to kind of get loose. And now, you can go ahead and read the lines again. So they let him do it all over again.
Nice. I guess.
So, movie's about?
Yeah, what the movie's about. It's about. I guess it starts off with Miles, who Cleve named his son after, which is just a kid who has to go to private school, doesn't want to. His mom is Hispanic too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mom is Hispanic, father is African American.
Yeah, so basically Cleve.
Yes.
So this is just a movie
that helps
about
sell it for me.
So he goes to private school, doesn't want to go to private school. You can see him, he's pretty popular with his regular school, then he goes to private school and he hates it, he's not very good at it. And then eventually goes into, he does like graffiti art, and his uncle takes him to a like secret place where he found because he does engineering down there.
Yeah, that'll come up later.
Yeah, that'll come up later. This is going to be full of spoilers if you haven't watched it.
It's a year old. It's people's fault.
And so he goes down there, does his cool art graffiti, gets bit by a spider.
Can I just say that as a Caucasian woman, you describe graffiti art in the most Caucasian woman way too.
What is that? How do you describe
You're like,
graffiti?
he does his like graffiti art and
Yeah, you throw some respect on his name. He did a good job.
I mean, it was really cool. It had like it said no expectations because of the Great Expectations book that he was supposed to be reading and writing a paper about.
and with great power comes great responsibility. All comes around.
Right.
Continue.
Right. Anyway, so obviously bit by a radioactive spider.
Wait, what?
Then
You saw a different movie than I saw.
Wasn't there a woman
What?
who came in with an umbrella and danced with animated penguins?
no, it's not Mary Poppins.
Different movie.
Anyway, then he goes and he wakes up and he has spider powers, like he keeps sticking to things, and hilarity ensues.
Fair enough.
And then eventually he
I thought that was her entire and hilarity ensues. Done.
I mean, and then he goes back to where the spider is bitten because he's like, there's no way I'm Spider-Man, because he knows of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is in the same universe he's in.
Right.
And then he goes back to where the spider was, and then Spider-Man is fighting the Green Goblin, I think.
Yes, that was the Green Goblin.
Okay, fighting the Green Goblin, and
Is it in the Ultimate Universe?
I don't know. I don't know what universe is any universe.
I'll explain all that when you're done.
Okay. I don't know anything. I know there's different universes, but I don't know about them. So then you see Spider-Man. Oh, I don't know. At one point, Spider-Man introduces his story, but I enjoyed that all the Spider-Mans introduced their stories the same way.
Yeah, so it was Peter Parker, and then
Peter
B.
B.
Parker,
Yeah.
and then Spider-Gwen, we're getting ahead, and then the other three,
Yeah.
and then Miles last.
Yeah. But I enjoyed Peter Parker's where they go, this happened. But we don't talk about that.
Oh, yeah, the Spider-Man 3 dance.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
They
Little
incorporated it
tidbit.
a lot.
Yeah.
The crappy ice cream and the Christmas song and cereal and all things he's actually done.
Yeah. So,
I think they saw Deadpool do it because Deadpool made fun of a lot of the things he did as well. Well, Ryan Reynolds in general.
Yeah.
And said this was successful.
Mm-hmm.
well, they weren't wrong. It was funny, and I enjoyed it. Anyway, then you keep going. Peter Parker dies, and there's a black hole machine thing,
Fair enough.
and then all the other Spider-Mans or Spider people get sucked into this universe.
You know what could have made this episode more interesting? Us been drunk, like blackout drunk when we watched it, and then come and try to describe it.
Like drunk history
Yeah,
with
yeah.
movie reviews next time.
Because that's what she sounds like right
Which
now.
might
She's
have been
like,
confusing
oh,
because it was
like,
like PDNY instead of NYPD, and Coca-Cola was spelled weird. Anyway.
So the explanation behind that is, so the Spider-Man that you typically know, just the regular Peter Parker, is from the 616, just normal Spider-Man universe where Captain America is and all. So Miles Morales is from a different universe where everything is the same with just these slight differences. That's why you saw the PD, NY, and the Coca-Cola spelled funny. And if you saw the Chance the Rapper poster, he had a 4 on his hat instead of a 3 like he wears. And just little small subtleties, except for Sony. Sony stayed strong across all universes.
Yeah. they kept their branding
Product placement.
consistent. But yeah, and then Peter B. Parker is teaching Miles how to be Spider-Man. But also he's the crappy Spider-Man who is,
Hobo Spider.
yeah, Hobo Spider-Man. But I like the actor who played his voice. So.
Nick. His real name's Nick, right?
No.
Nick Johnson.
Jake.
Jake Johnson. There we go.
He plays Nick in. You're doing worse than I am. You don't even have your phone.
he plays Nick and New Girl. I know
Yeah,
that.
it's Nick and New Girl.
That's your phone.
This is mine.
Oh. Maybe I do have my phone. Oh god, guys. Where am I? No. I don't know.
I guess I'll do it.
Oh, that's there.
Looks like your big old bum.
No, they're not blurry. Yeah, so, and then as he's teaching him how to be Spider-Man, I forgot the order of all of this. I should have written notes down.
Yeah.
But,
Just describe them. I'll tell you the names.
well, I mean, I know the names of them. I just forgot the order that they meet them in. I think he then meets
Gwen was next.
Gwen. Oh, they go into the lab and meet Doc Ock. And they found out Miles has a invisible power. His fight or flight mode. I enjoyed that he has different powers. I didn't know that they had different powers.
Just that one. That one specific one has additional powers than the normal Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Because he can electrocute people or something too.
Yeah.
Right?
They call it the Venom Shock. Or Venom Blast. One of those.
So then he figures out he's invisible and he can do things, and Hobo Peter is trapped with Doc Ock and things like that. And then they meet Gwen, which is Spider-Gwen? I don't know.
She's called Spider-Woman in her world because obviously calling her Spider-Gwen would be a giveaway. But yes.
Spider-Peter.
She's referred to as, and like her own comic book line is called Spider-Gwen. Because that was the big niche, is that in Spider-Man's world, Gwen Stacy dies. And that's why in her universe...
Peter Parker dies.
Right.
And she
it's
becomes
reversed.
Spider-Woman
Yes.
then. Okay. Cool.
And she's in a band.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing about her, apparently.
And then so she shows up and is now helping them so that they can all
Save the world.
save the world. And all go back to their specific universes. Hilarity ensues the rest of the movie. I mean, it's just funny the rest of the movie. And I really enjoy the animations and how they do it differently for everything. And then Nicolas Cage shows up, which I wish they would have picked a different actor for that one.
I thought he nailed it.
I mean,
he definitely nailed it.
there were times where I was like, oh, that's good. Other times I was like, oh, it's Nicolas Cage, and you know it's Nicolas Cage.
I mean, there's good Nick and bad Nick.
He's both at the same time in this
from
movie.
his beginning of his career till now. There's good Nick and bad Nick. But when he was like, "The wind always follows me. And it smells like rain."
I mean, I enjoyed that part.
And the Rubik's cube, I enjoyed that too. He's like, "Purple?" Like, no.
When
Okay.
he was trying to be funny and say things, I like it when he's just talking normally. I didn't like it.
You know his best line to me was when they were all in Aunt May's house, and she's like, "You need to take this outside," and he was like, "We don't pick the ballroom, we just dance." And I was like, "That is
enjoy that
That
line.
is my favorite line." Okay, so how did you feel about? Because you don't know anything about any of this stuff, which makes it good. Because I
Yeah.
saw everything coming because I know about it, but still little surprises here and there.
Yeah, I
How
knew
did you feel
nothing.
about the uncle twist? With it being an actual villain? The
Oh
Prowler?
yeah, I was like,
That's like the big.
yeah, the uncle twist. I saw that one coming.
Okay.
When he said, not when he said the engineering thing, I think it was when he was just out of town, and then I was like, that's weird that he just has me out of town. Like, he keeps kind of trying to call him, and he keeps just being out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he went into there, because he felt like his uncle was the only person he had to go to, I was like, Uncle's a villain. I know it. And then he was.
How did you feel about the massive kingpin? With like all the back.
That was fun, but I like just because there was different just animation throughout it. There was different styles of drawing, and then even when they did the little like glitching thing.
Were you the Doc Ock being a woman? Because in the regular universe, she's a man, and even in the comics in his universe, I believe he's a man.
Really, I think Doc Ock being a woman makes more sense to me.
What else? Did you have a favorite spider person? Did anyone stand out to you? Obviously, there's the core three.
Right,
It's okay if it was Penny. It was my favorite.
Penny, the Japanese one.
Yeah, but here's the problem with Penny. I found out that her concept was created by the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, and it ticks her down a peg for me.
That makes sense. I don't think she's my favorite. I think Miles is my favorite.
Yeah, hard not to be when you're the star of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, Hobo Spider-Man's funny.
Mhm.
And at least he gets a little redemption at the end of it, where he tries to go make up with.
Talking about the bringing her bread.
Yeah,
I should have brought you all the bread you deserved.
yeah.
Like, okay.
But it's funny, and I like that his storyline is he's just like eating pizza. And it's like as I was doing abs and push-ups. Or
Yeah,
something.
like working out and staying in shape.
Yeah,
Um,
but I like Miles. He's just different.
the shoulder touch. Hey.
Hey, like randomly in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
And then it came all together at the end.
Yeah. I enjoyed. I think all the art was great. I think all the voice actors were great.
Yeah.
Um,
I think my favorite part was the art and just how they combined all these different kinds. I still just hate Spider-Ham.
he was so good. I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet. And I was like, do animals talk in this universe? I don't want to freak them out. I was like, these are all good things.
I mean, they're good. I don't know why. It just threw me off to have a little tiny, like, cartoon character.
Can you float in the air when
Did
you
you not-
smell a delicious pie? Like, oh,
Did
good
you not
stuff.
I-
like Who
I like-
Framed Roger Rabbit?
No, I liked that movie.
Okay.
But
So
it was
you're
like,
just like
Don't. He hated him too. Don't let him get to you.
no. I mean, it was just like, it was like a toony, like, Bugs Bunny kind of toony.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
I know that was the whole point. And then he pulled out the hammer out of his pocket and says, "Here, you can keep this. It'll fit in your pocket."
Yeah.
Like, that was cute. There were cute lines. It was just like he'd just show up in random moments, which was the point of his character. I just don't.
There were some
I didn't
parts.
appreciate it.
Yeah, there were some comical parts that I really enjoyed. He was like, "Miles, turn invisible," and he's like, like, "I can't do it on command." He's like, "You can't do it on command." And he's like, "But watch
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Do the venom blast." I can't do it on command. He can't do it on command, but he's got it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I loved Hobo Spider-Man. I liked him a lot. I liked him as a character, but I just liked Miles as a Spider-Man.
Yeah. Were you gonna say something?
no,
Oh,
it's a good film.
you kept looking like you were gonna, and then didn't. Do you have questions for Stephanie that maybe I didn't ask, or parts that you liked that she didn't mention? I think the best part to me, and I'll randomly watch it sometimes, is when he finally gets the courage to and gets his costume and jumps off the building. Because I read like how they wrote out the script for it, and if you remember it, it flips upside down, and he's falling down, but he's going upward, and it was supposed to be him like rising up to his moment and that song. It's a good song. It's a good soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I also like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I like that first song they played at the beginning.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Post Malone.
Everybody. Gosh.
I hate Post Malone.
Why do you hate it? Oh,
I hate Post Malone. But I realized the part that Mal sings isn't Post Malone, and that's why that's the part that I like anyway.
Maybe that's the part. I think that's the part that I like is the part that he sings.
And then when he was stuck on the roof, and he was like, "Do whatever calms you down."
And singing the song.
That was my favorite part. I think the whole entire film is that he sings like I sing. I don't know the lyrics to half the things. I'm like,
I said, Derek, is this how I sing?
Yeah, that's me.
I found out it's Sharik Moore, I believe is his name. They said that he sang the song at first, and he sang it well, and they were like, "Hey, we need you to like not sing it well. So can you like shoot it again and maybe like don't hit pitches perfectly?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I got you."
Shamik, I think that's,
Yeah,
Miles is relatable.
yeah,
he was in Dope. I really like that
he
movie.
wasn't dope.
There was one part that was funny was when he was like, "I'm gonna go up to the top of the stairs and like play all this like build up music," and then he gets to the top and he's just like, "Nope."
You're like
And then you
the sneaker squeak all the way back down.
That was
That's
all
good.
around a really good film.
Yeah,
It was
I
good
enjoyed
parts.
it. I picked a good movie.
He did.
But there was this depressing part because Uncle Ben kept dying over and over again.
Well, actually, hold on a second.
There's no Uncle Ben on the
There is no.
Well, I mean, and all the retellings of every other.
Yeah, no.
person.
Every retelling was literally them making a jab at themselves. Like that was, I think this is the first time I really liked it, a Spider-Man film, because I saw it before I saw Homecoming. I'm pretty sure I saw it before I saw Homecoming. But anyways, the first Spider-Man film I've ever really truly enjoyed, and it was because again they took the Deadpool approach and were like super light and funny and made fun of themselves for the mistakes that they've made. Hence the telling the story 500 times of how Spider-Man is how he is. I think that was supposed to be like a little jab from the directors, like, all right, we get it, we know how this goes.
I enjoy that we found a successful way to introduce we won't count Spider-Man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new characters, but Justice League butchered it. Like, explain to me how they were like, even when he goes, "How did you get here?" He's like, "Oh, it's a long story," and then it just flips through, and he was like, "I guess it wasn't that long."
Oh yeah, that one was funny.
Nick Cage, man, I'm telling you, he was the underrated casting of that movie.
Yeah, no, I
There-
agree.
I know you hate Nick Cage, and I understand.
Nick Cage.
But
It's just, there
it
were
was-
there were times where I'm just like, "Oh, that's funny," and then it'd be like, "Oh, Nick Cage," and then be like, "Oh, that's funny." Oh, Nick Cage. I still liked him better than Spider-Ham.
I think Penny was the only one that I don't think was like a big name casting. Even Spider-Gwen, whose
Kimiko.
name I can't remember. She is relatively popular.
Who'd you say, Spider-Gwen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen was Haley Steinfeld. She
Oh,
played
yeah.
in Bumblebee, and also more known for
Doesn't she like sing too, or is she
True
just
Grit.
an actress?
Yeah, she sings normally, but she's more well known for True Grit. She was the girl in True Grit.
Ah, yeah.
And then
That was a good
Kimiko
movie.
is the one that plays Penny Parker, Kimiko Glenn, and she was not in much.
Yeah.
She's the voice in DuckTales?
Ooh.
New one or old one?
Oh, a new one. And she's also the voice in Elena. So yeah, she also plays Sam in We Bear Bears. There you go. That's what I was looking for. The only person we know.
little
Yeah.
girl with the glasses?
Yeah.
She's the
That's
best.
the only character I think we know out of everybody she's played.
Yep. I got that one. I don't know the rest.
So what I like most about the movie is the director made it with the mindset to explain that anybody can be Spider-Man. It doesn't have to be just Peter Parker. Anybody can step up and fill the role if they have it in them, and they think they can do it. And I also enjoyed the whole we've all lost somebody. Like we've all, you can't save everybody. That's the hard part of the job. And I lost my uncle. I lost my father. I also lost my uncle.
Lost my best friend.
And I like that Spider Noir's was Uncle Benjamin because it was back in that time frame.
I enjoy when Peter Parker's girlfriend.
Mhm.
What's her name?
Mary
Mary
Jane?
Jane?
Mary Jane. I kept thinking Gwen, and I know that's not her name, because that's the other one. Mary Jane, when she's giving that speech, and then they're all wearing like the spider outfits, and then he said something. I don't know what he's like, I gotta save the world, or something. I don't know. What
He's like, oh, she's talking about me.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't think he's talking to you specifically.
Man,
I mean, I should say that louder, not whisper. But she whispered, I don't think she's talking about you specifically.
I got a little choked up on that Stan Lee cameo because I thought that was gonna be like one of the last ones, and I was like, he's like, it always fits eventually, but it was because he wants to make money,
Yeah.
which is also true.
I thought it was like, oh, how cute. And then it was just no refunds.
Yeah.
Like he's just a skeezy New York convenience store clerk.
Yeah. Michael, any input, any scene that really sparked you?
I'll let you guys talk about it.
I mean, I talked during yours.
Yeah, I know, but you never saw it, so I have way more to talk about, and I talk too much as it is. So
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, that's why you have a podcast.
no, it's a really good film, beautifully done. I like animation as it is, so I always enjoy like a good animation. In fact, yeah, I find myself watching shows and not paying attention to the actual show and just watching the drawings because I can't draw like that. No, it's a really touching story. I always find it amusing how Miles Morales even came to be. There was for a while, I think Cleveland and I have talked about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for whatever reason, when they were casting the Amazing Spider-Man, I believe it was it the Amazing Spider-Man?
Yes, the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield.
Yep. A petition or for whatever public outcry was that Donald Glover should play Spider-Man. And they're like, well, Donald Glover can't play Spider-Man. He's black. And they're like, well, let's make that happen. So some artist was like, I'm going to draw half African-American, half Mexican-American superhero. And said, here's Miles Morales. Have fun.
I want them to make a real movie now with Donald Glover and playing Miles.
Well, that's who Miles Morales is based off of. So if you look at him, he kind of looks
Yeah,
like
he
him.
does.
And that's why. It's because the artist was like, I'm going to draw him based off Miles Morales. And off of Donald Glover. And Donald Glover was making one of his stand-ups. I think you actually turned me to that particular stand-up. He's like, yeah. He goes, I don't know why everyone was like, oh, yeah. Whenever it was like, he can't play Spider-Man. And then all of a sudden people were like, what, you want Michael Cera to play Shaft? And Donald Glover's like, yes. I will watch that all day. He goes, and why does everybody keep saying that? It's like, oh, this is Shaft. Like, Shaft's our Spider-Man?
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was, I mean, it was just cool to think that, you know, like, the public is heard enough to the point where, like, someone's like, I want a black Spider-Man, and all of a sudden, hey, here's Black Spider-Man, and then 2 years later, or 6 years later, here's an animated version of it. I mean, it speaks to the growth and the, whether it's actually people learning to be tolerant or us cramming tolerance down people's throats. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. It works.
It's nice to have like my young nephews and even Miles to be able to grow up and see people. Oh, he looks like I look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you see now, so I don't know how much into it you've looked at, but so at the end of Endgame, Sam Wilson gets the shield. He's going to be the new Captain America. That happened in the comics. There's a female Thor that's supposed to come up in the the fourth Thor.
Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I'm not going to enjoy having to talk about Thor 4.
Thor 4.
Thor
Yeah.
4.
The 4.
And then with this one, there was a point in time where comics were only made by older white men, and all the characters represented that. Mm-hmm. And Falcon's the first character who didn't have black in his name, like Black Lightning and
Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther. You know, it's so now we're in a new generation where new people are getting to see new faces, and
you have Miss Marvel, which we'll talk about in another episode, I'm sure. Disney Plus just announced a little bit ago.
Her name is Camilla Khan, and she's Pakistani, I believe.
She's Pakistani. And then we've talked about superheroes with disabilities, and again, will be another future episode.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about more of them.
Yeah, and then the creator of the Miles Morales Spider-Man adopted 2 black little girls and was like, there's, I'm part of this world, and yet they don't get to see themselves reflected. And the new Ironheart I don't know how much you know about her, but it's Iron Man's new replacement, who's like a little Rihanna. I think
Yeah.
Riri Williams is his little black girl who's
That's cool.
taking on that mantle too. So I am passionate about this project and future projects.
told you it was
I don't
like-
have no say so in them, but
The Captain America moment was one of the first scenes I like genuinely like choked up at. Was like, this is good, and I think it speaks to representation. As like you said, you know, it's nice for everybody to see someone that they can represent themselves to.
there's a
I just got Disney princesses, and now I have Captain America. Not Captain America.
well, the Disney Plus is going to have a what if series where they'll basically take storylines and say, well, what if this happened instead, and kind of tell that story. And one of the first ones they're going to do is if Peggy Carter became Captain America instead of Steve Rogers.
Nice.
And that apparently is in the comics also, and I have to hunt down what that
The
storyline
Winter
is, because apparently at the Exiles maybe, but it does really well. But yeah, future.
I feel like I would be a Peggy Carter if I was in that era, because stupid.
Peggy Carter was
Stupid.
No, because it's great. Because she's great. That era was stupid.
You don't like the era of Mad Men?
No.
There was a part where when Miles pops up to save everybody, and everyone goes, Miles! And Miles turns around every time. It's funny. Because I imagine hearing your name coming out of the TV, you're like,
But not only does he hear his name coming on TV, he actually sees him
Right.
in the TV.
but yeah, those are all my final thoughts and facts that I think I have.
My kid shares the name with whiskey, so I don't know how that's
Also,
gonna.
Spider-Man
Tell
had
them about you.
had a cape at one point in time.
Yeah.
We have 2 capes.
So yeah, and so all of those suits were like ones that have come from the comic, along with the Spider-Mobile, which I don't ever know why they tried to make that a thing. I think everybody just got a car at the time, but
Very much, I think, around the time where Batmobile was popular.
I also enjoy that they saved their strength by riding a bus.
yeah. I like when they stole the computer.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, let me help you out. You're not gonna need that." And he takes like the monitor and throws it. Yeah, good stuff.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that part also reminded me of the part where he actually takes the bagel, and they're like, "He took a bagel!" As he's stealing a computer, they're like mad that he took a bagel, and then he throws the bagel back at them, and it goes bagel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoyed every little bit of animation in that
And
movie.
So, yeah.
Good.
So, out of 10, Cleve, 10, Stephanie.
10 out of 10.
10 out of
Oh
10.
no, I have it's 9 out of 10. Spider Ham.
If
Spider-Ham
we
ruined
would
it.
have taken Spider-Ham out, would have been a 10 for 10. I understand. I think I was like at an 8.5, 9.
I think because I
It just
just liked
was-
the animation so much, and Spider Ham was so
Different.
Out of it.
out of it, like 2D.
Yeah, that was actually part of the appeal, though. Maybe you just
What?
didn't, maybe you
I
don't
know.
understand art. I
Even
don't
Penny
know.
looked
You don't
different
like
from other
Spider-Man either.
people.
Yeah.
And you loved her.
No,
I get like
I didn't dislike Spider-Ham because of that. I just liked Spider-Ham because he was too campy for me. He was too like Looney Tunes,
Well,
and I didn't need that.
Well, you know what? When
I
I
said
when I
Looney
need to
Tunes
pick
my Spider-Man movie.
when I need to pick the 5 most different Spider-Man.
Oh no,
I can.
absolutely. I understand why they went that way. It's very contrast to the rest of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Him, like you take him and Spider Noir, and it's like, oh well, I see, things happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you recommend Stephanie? You recommend?
everyone should watch it.